Hey, what's up everybody? So I'm going to cover a few topics today that I think is very important because I get asked the same question over and over and over again, and it seems like there's a general misconception about the way our bodies work. When you have an injury, you shouldn't do certain things and you can't do things, and you'll never be able to be normal again and never be able to do whatever you love doing and follow your dreams and your passions, which is, I guess, to some extent, some people have worse kind of injury. But for instance, with thoracic outlet syndrome, I keep getting told that trigger point therapy doesn't work for them, and stretches don't work, and physical therapy doesn't work. Now, to say that it doesn't work, it's either you've been to the wrong physical therapist that's hurt you and made it worse because they don't know anything about TOS, which is very possible. Secondly, you're doing trigger point therapy, but you're doing it wrong. You're doing it too hard, or you're pushing in the wrong places and you're just making yourself feel much worse. Because our body works on a kinetic chain. I say this in nearly every single video that I do. If you've got an injury in your upper back, your lower back and your other side of your body is going to compensate. So you've got a pain here, and everything's compensating because maybe you're walking a bit skew because you've got that injury, and it follows a chain down your body. So in a few weeks time you might notice you've got lower back pain, and that's because your injury started somewhere and the rest of your body compensated, and now your lower back's maybe swinging a little bit to the left or to the right and trying to compensate to keep your body straight. So now you have a lower back injury. Now, because your lower back is taking the brunt of it, you might feel a pain in your leg, in your hamstring or your calf or your foot, because now everything's out of balance. So I get a lot of questions saying, oh, but I've got TOS, but I've got foot pain and I've got calf pain and I've got tight hamstrings. And I keep saying the same thing, that it's all connected. Your body doesn't work independently. Our body flows. So from your feet, you're wearing shoes the whole day and your foot is getting used to a shoe. So those muscles don't flex fully, and when you take that shoe off and you walk barefoot, you'll find that sometimes your feet get sore. Like if you go to the beach, if you live inland and you go on holiday, you go to the beach, suddenly you're walking on sand. How do your feet feel? They feel stiff and sore. It's because those muscles are working harder, and it's your shoe that's taking all the strain. So when your body's working again and your bare foot is, all the muscles are working in your foot, they get stiff. Same thing with the rest of our bodies. If your feet are not working properly, your hips can't work properly, and everything is misaligned. So when it comes to trigger point therapy and physical therapy and your TOS pain, you have to think of the whole picture. You have to take one day at a time. You have to not go too fast or too crazy or do crazy movements. I've got a few people that are trying trigger point therapy and they're doing it completely wrong. And when I ask them how they're doing it, they're telling me that they're doing like a full day of just rolling on the ball and going crazy. Obviously, it's like you've been sitting on the couch forever and now you want to go get fit, and you go out and you go do a triathlon. You're going to fail and you never want to go back to doing any exercise or ever do a triathlon again, because you've gone from one extreme to the other. So you got to respect your body, you got to respect your injury, and you have to listen to your body, what's telling you. Now, when I started trigger point therapy, just by taking the ball and rolling it on my trap, just to get more range of motion in the scapula and my shoulder and loosen this trap. When I first started, I did too much myself. I was like, oh wow, this feels great, and I started loosening up the muscles, and it was amazing. So the next day I was so tight and sore and stiff and probably had one of the worst flare-ups I've had. And I thought to myself, great, there goes another theory out the window, and I'm probably going to just have to go for the surgery. So that's how it went, and I tried it on and off, but every time I'd get a flare-up and I thought, okay, this is not for me. And I went to different chiropractors, and I eventually found a very good chiropractor that really helped me with dry needling, acupuncture and alignment, which all helped really well. But then I thought to myself, I was watching more and more videos, and I was reading up and researching And the more I read into it, the more I thought trigger point therapy has to be the answer, because we're all sitting at a desk and we've got the rounded shoulders and forward head, and we all have the same sort of lifestyles. Unless we're some sort of athlete, we've got the same lifestyle where we're sitting down, we're sedentary, we're not doing much movement. We go from work sitting at a desk, coming home, watching TV, and it's the same pattern over and over. So write down those affected muscles so you know exactly what to work on. Now, a lot of people don't know how the muscles work, and that's understandable. So imagine these elastic bands are the small fascia tissue that makes up your muscle. Now, imagine this is your shoulder, this is your neck. I'll put it there so when your trap goes up like that, it's squeezing tight. When you relax, it opens up. Now, when you stress through the day and your shoulders getting tight, these will contract and get hard and stiff and contract together, where they should be loose and supple and soft. So through the day you're sitting and you've got those rounded shoulders and there's extra stress on your trap and they get tight and hard. When you push on your trap, it's extremely hard. It's because it's contracted and it's stiff and it's all bundled up together. When you go for a massage, it loosens up all these and they stretch back into their natural position where they should be and function properly. Now, when you've got an injury like TOS, you've had these tight muscles in your neck, in your trap, in your rhomboids, your shoulder blade, everywhere is tight. And doing a little bit of trigger point therapy might loosen it up a little bit, and the next day it's going to be back to square one. Now, if you're doing too much, you're going to loosen that muscle and bruise that muscle, and it's still going to get tense, but now it's bruised at the same time, and now it feels even worse. So you have to get that balance. You have to start off very slowly, apply that pressure very slowly with a ball, and just figure it out how it works for you. So going very slow, soften the muscle a little bit the one day, let it relax, put some ice or heat on it, and take it day by day. Maybe it feels like you're not doing enough. Just take that first week extremely soft and make sure that you're not sore at all. You're just rolling a little bit and getting some blood flow in the muscle. From the next week, you could go a little bit harder, and the week after that, you could go even harder. So you can start off with a tennis ball, which is very soft, and you can work your way up to a much harder ball, like a hockey ball or a pool ball, which I use. You get to that point where your muscle gets so used to that applied pressure that it loosens up immediately. Now, I've got to a point where I've got that mind-muscle connection that I can just think about that muscle, like say I'm thinking about my trap, and I force my body to relax it, and I've visually focus on that muscle alone, and just try to relax it and bring my shoulder blade down and keep that specific muscle as loose and soft as possible. So it takes a lot of practice, a lot of work, but it's definitely possible to feel better with trigger point therapy. And even if you've had surgery, just to get rid of that scar tissue, trigger point therapy is a must, just to keep that blood supply, to keep the muscle soft and avoid that dense tissue buildup. So I hope this clears a few things up. If anybody's got any questions, just comment below, and I hope everyone starts feeling a bit better.